Thanks for checking out another clip of the Cashflow Contractor. We'd love to have you as a part of our audience. Click subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
You may be losing your team if people stop asking for help or clarification. I think of this one as people just aren't trying to grow. They're not trying to do excellent work. Obviously, you could have the best systems in the world and they don't need to ask for help or clarification because there's videos on how to do it and there's, SOPs and documentation and QR codes along every side of the process, and you can scan it and watch a video. But that's just not normally the case. If people aren't communicating and asking for support, it just means that they're just there to show up. A lot of times I see this as well as similar to the previous one of like not sharing bad news. You may have established a culture of, hey, you can't ask questions because I'm going to treat you like you're an idiot.
My literal thought was the opposite of that. Not everything rises to this level, but if somebody asks you a question and you respond to it, and it's a significant question, send out a communication. And I mean, it can be at your meeting in the morning, it can be text, it can be however you communicate, your primary, and say, hey, Bill asked this question. Great question. This was my answer. This is what he asked. This is what I answered. Does anybody else have? Good job. Thanks for bringing that up. Where everybody thinks, ooh, I'll be rewarded.
And Martin, this is one of the things that bothers me the most, because what you just said is absolutely right. But I talk to companies probably every single week. And if they wanted to do that, they actually don't have a channel to do that effectively regularly.
So there you go.
They don't have a weekly team meeting. They don't have a morning huddle where they can do that in person. Or they don't have something like Slack or a variety of the workplace communication tools that are out there where they can send that message. If they wanted to do it, they would have to send an email that nobody on the team checks. Or if they want to do that, they'd have to send an iMessage to the group, but they don't have everybody's number saved in their phone, right?
Yeah.
It's just, you have to, if you are going to lead people and you're going to do something like you just said, you have to have the channel and the means to be able to do that. And nothing's better than having a rhythm, meaning a habit that you fall back to, something that's a routine. Hey, every Monday we do a weekly kickoff with our team. It's 20 minutes. We talk about what the priorities are for the week with our projects, and we share any important information.
Yeah.
That would be one of the important informations. It establishes your culture. It lets you know what you want from your team. It celebrates people that are doing great work. So you've got to do something like that.
Yeah. And that, I think maybe we've done some on this. We need to do something on that in the future, because I do have people say, well, what am I supposed to say in this meeting? And then you have the opposite side of that of, if we have a meeting, it'll go on for 6 hours. And we have talked about it, but we talk about communication being one of the most important things in every aspect of business, internal, external, personal, family, everything. Mm-hmm. And what you just brought up is, well, how are we going to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason your meeting takes 6 hours is because you do it once every 6 months and you don't have an agenda. And so there's too much to cover and it goes in all these different directions, all that kind of stuff. Your meeting wouldn't take 6 hours. It would take 10 minutes if you did it every single day and you had a very rigid structure that you followed,
right.
And it would probably save you, gosh, I can't even imagine how many hours of time it would save you.
Yeah.
Answering questions on off times, going back and doing rework, not, people asking for clarity on the direction of the project or whatever it is, right? You may be losing your team, Martin, if commitments slip without any explanation. I think for probably most people that are having these problems losing their team, commitments are slipping on their end too. And so they probably understand this, but it's when your project manager says, hey, we're going to have the rough end done on Thursday. And then you drive by the job site on Monday and it's not done. And the only reason you found out is because you drove by.
Because you drove by. Yeah.
And that's, in my opinion, one of the telltale signs of that, or one of the reasons of that happening is capacity. Everyone's out of capacity. We're operating above what's possible. And we can do that for a season. We can do that for, a 2-month period if need be, because it's the busy season, whatever. But the reality is a lot of companies are running on overcapacity majority of the time. And reasons for that, we've talked about in so many other episodes. of not charging enough, of not having clear scope of works, of not having a good schedule, of, not hiring well, a variety of things, not planning properly. I think that at the end of the day, that's one aspect, but another aspect is a culture leadership thing as well. You never follow up with things. They see you not following through on commitments, so they don't follow through on commitments.
Yeah, and some of those commitments are with them directly. I was always just in general on leadership. If you are constantly setting goals and never asking about them, or a new process or new system that we're going to implement here, and you're all excited about it. And then I think in another episode, I talked about a guy I know who, I think I was read it in a book, didn't know him personally, but he did, what do you do when the boss tells you? Well, he's always off on a new initiative. I used to drop everything and get on it, and then he wouldn't follow up. He said, I'm now at the point where he tells me to do something, I don't do anything. And if I wait and he asks me a week later, well, where is that? I go, oh, okay, I'll get right on it. But I don't do anything because he told me to the first time, because he's just off on one of his squirrel chases.
I'm probably, the culprit number one of this. I get so excited about different things. I'm an early adopter. I'm always looking at like the next thing. I love frameworks and I love to try to implement them. And yeah, sometimes I jump the gun, right? But I think ultimately I at least try to follow up. I'm not going to, I know I've done it before, but I do my best not to start an initiative and then never talking about it again, So I think you have to be careful if that's your personality type like me, where I get really excited about, not necessarily shiny object syndrome, but just like, oh man, I'm very optimistic.
What we could.
I'm opportunistic. I see the huge upside, and I don't necessarily count the cost of time, energy, capacity that it would go towards making that a reality. But I think a lot of times that's not necessarily the same thing as the commitments without explanation. Because what I'm talking about is more so initiatives that are, very big company things, right? I think what we're talking about is you haven't been clear on what the objective is on this specific task, and you've delegated it, and then they didn't have the information necessary to actually go do it.
Everybody needs to know who's supposed to do what by when. It goes a little deeper, like how to do it, but who does what by when. And if any of those three things are going to fall through and not, they need to have clear understanding that they need to tell people that.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to communication. It's one thing if they're missing a deadline, and then hey, we're going to miss this deadline. It's another thing if they miss the deadline and then never say anything.
Yeah.
And you show up on the deadline day and you're like, hey, I thought we were going to be done. Like that's what we had addressed at the beginning of the week. Oh yeah, we just didn't get to it. Like you're losing your team.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a sign that you're not communicating effectively or frequently enough. In my opinion.
And sometimes you get the wrong person.
Thanks for checking out a clip from the Cashflow Contractor. We have full episodes where we go deep on topics that help you grow a construction business that runs without you, so you can have less stress, more time, more money. Now, we've got other videos, other clips, but if you want to check out the full episode for this clip, you can click wherever our editor put it. It might be here, might be there, might be over my face, I don't know. But thank you for checking us out. We'd love to have you as a part of our audience. So subscribe or check out a full episode wherever you get podcasts.